this is nation against nation, and this is happening all over the earth. All over the earth. And that's important that the Most High says that this gospel must be taught throughout the four corners of the earth. Then the end shall come. This gospel will be taught throughout the whole earth. Let's go to Matthew 24. Let's start at the first verse.
St. Matthew, chapter 24, verse 1. And Yeshua went up and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left thee one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
It was talking about the temple. Christ was telling them, you see this temple? Nothing will be left in this temple. During that time, the temples were being controlled by the Herodian dynasty, or what you would call the Idumean Sanhedrin. So when it was talking about their temple, it was talking about their rulership, their power. The temple that Satan ended up infiltrating. Read.
Verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And which shall be the sign of thy coming?
So let's see if we're living in the signs. Read.
And which shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?
What will be the end of the world? Read.
Verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Who is that many? Christians. And when you turn it around backwards, you almost got Antichrist. When you look at Christian, the word Christian, it's almost Antichrist. Read.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
And shall deceive many. Who deceived the people? The Christian church. They made you think that they had the information, the true information of the gospel, when really it was the church of Satan the whole time. It's a universal religion, spiritual religion under Satan himself. He's the God of the modern day Christianity. They just use Christ's name. They don't even use his name. They use Jesus. Okay? Christ was not a Greek. He was not a Roman. He was an Hebrew Israelite. That's what he was. Hebrew is what he spoke. That was his language. Israelite was his nationality. His mother and father were Hebrew Israelites. Read.
Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
That's what we're hearing right now. All over the place. Read.
See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet.
Go ahead.
For nation shall rise against nation.
Now, if you don't have the understanding of what a nation is, you might think this is talking about one country fighting against another country. But that's not what it's talking about here. Nation means nationality. When you look in the table of nations in Genesis, the 10th chapter, it gives you your ethnic father, who you belong to. That's one nation or one race fighting against another race. Now tell me that's not brewing all over the earth right now. All in America. Here it is. If a brother is found with a gun, he's an automatic 5 years. It doesn't matter whether or not. If you don't have a license for it, automatic 5 years. But yet, these hillbillies can get guns and go sit on the border and protect the border against Mexico without any licenses. They can do anything they want. They don't got a license to be able to protect the border, but they talk about they're going to make a civilian alliance against the Mexicans. Now the question is, if you're going to go against militia groups within the country, why don't you go against these guys that are on the border saying they're going to shoot Mexicans? Why? They're fueling the race war. They'll go against a militia group that'll get armed against the government that might try to kill them. Why? Because you're not supposed to be planning anything or trying to go against a government that's trying to kill you. But you will protect them that go to the borders. Some white people, excuse me, that's going to kill Mexicans. They're on the border. You can see this all on YouTube. In Arizona, they have laws all in Arizona. There are laws in parts of Texas going all the way down. Their laws is specifically against the Mexicans. They have to show their papers. You know how many legal Mexicans that are in that area? So you have to be carded or show your papers just to show you are a citizen. Is that racial profiling? Yes. Is that nation against nation? Yes. Because a white guy that filtering from Canada don't got to show that he's an American. So why he have to show his papers? They got a list of over thousands of people on this list to deport people out of America right now. And not one white person is on this list. If that's not race wars, what is it? People talking about fighting other races. Something is brewing over here in Bradford, right?
In the UK, full stop, is the English Defence League rising up against what they call extreme terrorism, or people with extreme views, extreme Islamic views.
They call who?
English Defence League.
So they got the English Defence League over here, which is all these different European factions joining together against what you would call Muslim extremists. Just running around, looking to pick with Arabs and all that, and trying to join some arms against Arabs and other people. Who's fueling these wars? Who's promoting this? The media. Making people think that it's other people stealing your money, and it's the banks and the government stealing your money. These people are trying to work just like you. Read.
St. Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Go ahead.
And kingdom against kingdom.
And kingdom against kingdom. That's what's going on right now, all over the earth. Read.
And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places.
I'm looking at what's going over there in Russia right now. Right now in Russia, there's a famine. They're afraid that this whole thing of wheat that they have, this for miles, will dry up and catch fire because of a drought. That's the time we're in. That's going on in Russia right now. And to the point where we're not even eating regular food anymore. Monsanto, who came up with seeds, corporate seeds, that if it's planted, you can't plant any other seed in that soil. It kills every other seed like it's a weed, but it's a seed. And it'll give you crops for a certain amount of time, then it won't bring forth any more fruit. Genetically engineered seeds. And then through time, if you want to keep your crops going, you must buy Monsanto seeds, because the seeds don't produce themselves. What type of madness is that? That's a drought. That's a famine. That's the time we're in today. Read.
And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes, in divers places.
So the Most High told us that Yeshua was letting us know at the time, the signs of the time, that you'll be hearing of earthquakes in diverse places. Look at these sinkholes that are dropping out, big holes in the middle of nowhere, all over the place. Mexico, they had some in China. Some is going on in different parts of Africa, where stuff is just falling right into the depths of hell almost. Ground is opening up like it did during the time of Moses, and the earth is just falling in. Earthquakes in diverse places. Christ knew about what would be happening in the end. He knew the technology that Satan would use in the end to try to destroy God's people. He understood it. This is serious warfare. And I mentioned in class the other night that when you think about war, you think about some guys running in fatigues and with guns running up the street. Well, that's not war. That's straight fighting. That's just plain guerrilla war. But there's many levels of warfare. Many levels. You got biological warfare. You have chemical warfare. That's what's going on right now in the Gulf. That's chemical warfare. Okay, let's let the toxins loose in the waters. We're going to strategically place all of God's people on the Gulf Coast and on the East Coast. Make it where that's the majority of the people who live there. Don't think they didn't know that fault line was there for that oil a long time ago. They knew, or they'd have been drilled there. At a certain time, we're going to let those toxins loose. Then we'll use the military to spray that coexant poison on top that's outlawed by every country on earth to poison the people. Then we'll pay the people to clean it up. Go ahead, get $200 a day. Go ahead, $200 a day, free money. Look, you can make $1,000 in a few hours. Go ahead. They know you're not going to be able to collect that money. You work there a month straight, you probably kill right over. That's what's going on. This is biological and chemical warfare against God's people. We are living in Jacob's trouble. Read.
Verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted.
Here's the plan, though. What pretext did Christ say here? What pretext would happen in our time that would allow this to happen? That they would deliver you up to kill you. What is the pretext? We must label anyone that we want terrorist. If you are against our turn, we can call you radical and label you terrorist. And deliver you up to the government. Why? There must be some laws on the books that will allow them to deliver you up. The war on terror. That's what this is all about. You're waiting for an antichrist, and we're living in an antichrist world. We're living in an antichrist world, and you're waiting for an antichrist. Read.
Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you.
And shall what?
And shall kill you.
And the majority of these people that it's talking about are God's people. Christ is talking about his people, people that believe in him. They did this in 70 AD, but they did it on a small level. But they did it. They lied. Nero burned Rome and claimed that the Jews did it. Claimed that we did it. Gave Vespasian and his son Titus the pretext to come and destroy us in Israel. We did nothing to the Romans, but the Romans thought we were their enemies based on what Nero said. Who was Nero? Nero was what you would call the modern day president. That's who Nero was. Now, you can label all the Jews terrorists. Now let's go take down Jerusalem. Same exact thing. The terrorists used to be Arabs. Now who are they? Oh, there's black Somalians. We need to spread this war on terrorism based on what just happened in the World Cup with these blacks losing their minds. Oh, the underwear bomber. They're black. They're black. They're flying into Egypt, going into Somalia, developing extremist views. You see how broad that is? To the point where they can paint you any way they want to. That's the world we live in today. But yet, I don't see one conviction. Now, have there been one conviction of a black person that have actually did something? What was the court date? Give me the court date in which any of us was ever convicted for doing something as extremists in this world. Okay? And don't talk about the DC bomber. The DC sniper. He was nothing more than a Manchurian candidate. He was a sniper for the government. A lot of these guys were chipped and controlled. And they want to set that up too to make you so they can broaden the face on terrorism, when really they point to those that would follow Christ. Those that would have the knowledge and the spiritual acumen to fight against what they call the new satanic world order. Read.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
It says, you shall be hated of all nations for my name sake. Now, nations is not territory or land. Nations is nationality. So God's people will be hated by all nations for his name's sake. Why would they be hated by all nations? Because at the very end, the Spirit would come on God's people to realize they are the people. And that would breed hatred amongst the other people. And what they call that is separatist teaching. That's not separatist teaching. How can that be separatist if I acknowledge who I am? Is a Chinese separatist for saying he's Chinese? Okay? Let's get that in Zephaniah. And let's get that in the Apocrypha where it talks about the poor righteous man, that they would use the law to oppress the poor righteous man. How they consider themselves and they think that we can't see what they're doing. The Most High have showed us, according to Scripture, exactly what they're planning, what's on their mind, and what tools they'll use. Yes. Read the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter.
Zechariah.
I'm going to Zechariah 1 right after that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves.
This is what the ungodly is saying, reasoning within themselves. And the ungodly are the people that are being controlled by Satan, the government powers of this earth. This is what they're saying amongst themselves, reasoning amongst themselves. So they'll sit at this big board table and reason amongst themselves. And let's see if the Most High can give us some level of insight or be a fly on the wall of what these people are saying. Read.
For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright.
But they're not right. They're not reasoning aright. Read.
Our life is short and tedious.
Listen, our life is short. Go ahead.
And in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been.
So they're saying our life is short, and we don't know anyone that we know that have come back. This is what they think. So they don't think to believe in the resurrection of Christ. They think that this life is all they have. That's what they teach. Live for today, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or once you die, it's it. But they don't understand death is just one passage from one life into an entirely different life. Your life don't stop. But because of their unbelief, they think that they need to live out every day like a kid. It's going to tell you that, like a child. And we're the people they're playing with. Read.
Verse 2. For we are born at all adventure.
Go ahead.
And we shall be hereafter as though we had never been.
Go ahead.
For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of a heart.
Go ahead.
Which being extinguished, our bodies shall be turned into ashes.
So they're saying, listen, when we die, we'll get cremated. Nothing. Read.
And our spirit shall vanish as the soft air.
So they don't believe that there's life after death. Read.
Verse 4. And our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance. And our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof.
Go ahead.
For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on therefore, let us enjoy the good things.
So because they don't believe in the true God, they say, let's come together and enjoy the good things. So that's why these rich people act like kids. They run around and make themselves Disney World and little amusement parks in their house, and they treat the earth like their big playground. This is their kingdom. This is it. They don't believe in the kingdom to come. Read.
Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth.
Let's use the creatures, which is the Most High creation, for our entertainment. That's what we are to them. Read.
Verse 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us.
Don't let nothing pass by us. Let's take advantage of everything we come across in this earth. It belongs to us. It's mine. Read.
Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us.
Go ahead.
Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered.
Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds. Let us set ourselves up as kings and queens before it's withered. Read.
Verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness.
Let's make sure none of us go without our part of our voluptuousness. Let's get everything we can. That's what the elites and the people that are controlling this earth, this is the way they think. They don't care about the poor. They don't care about the people that are suffering at all. Because you notice there's a faction in this earth that this unemployment, this depression, that's what it is. There's a faction, there's people in this earth that are not suffering 1 second with all that are happening in the earth right now. They can fly anywhere they want, go anywhere, they can go out in space if they want. It's not affecting them. Okay? Because they're at a point where they don't need money. Money is something for the cattle. They control all resources. They're worth billions and billions and billions of dollars to the point where they don't have to spend a dime. These are the people that are in charge of this world's destiny. That's what they think. These are the kids that are controlling the earth. They're kids. The Bible is telling you, they're like little kids. Read.
Verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness.
Go ahead.
Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place.
Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. That's why when you go around, they leave statues of themselves or memorials of themselves in different places. Because they think that's all they have is this life. So they want everyone to know that they were there, that they lived, that they conquered. Read.
Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place.
Go ahead.
For this is our portion.
Because that's all we have. They believe this is all we have. That's their portion. Go ahead.
And our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
Let us do what?
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
That's your elite right there. So they get together and say, how can we oppress the poor righteous man? They know we're the children of Israel. So they come together, not that we are oppressed enough. They make more meetings, they do more meetings and more planning on how they can oppress us more. It's game for them. Read.
Verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow.
And let us not spare the widow. We're not going to spare anyone. Women think government is out for them. No. They use you till they can't use you, and you're just no different than anyone else. Men and women ain't it together. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. You can see them in a room now. A few weeks before they blew that rig. Before they cracked the ground and destroyed that. How are we going to do it? Dick Cheney and Halliburton. I'll tell you what, before we do it, I'll tell you what, we can make some money on this. We can not just kill the people. Let's do it this way. Dick, I need you to go and set up a business, to deal with the cleaning up of oil. And we need you to set this up 2 weeks before the oil spill happens. Dick, you just set that up, get that company going. And I'll tell you what, Goldman & Sachs, I need you to put up some put options, against BP, so that their stock drop, we become billionaires. All right, Let's do that. All right. This is good. What idea you have? Oh, I got an idea. I'll tell you what. Why don't we, while the oil is coming out, destroying the people with these toxins, why don't we just call the military in? Let's get a general in here and let's spray it with that stuff that was, that stuff that was banned by the other oil companies and the other countries, and spray it all on the Gulf Coast, and we can kill them slowly. And you know what? We'll pay them to clean it up. What a good idea. How many you think we can kill with that one, Dick? This is how they sit around a table. And we'll tell them, listen, we've done things wrong. We'll pay the media to sympathize and make the people think that we care. The same time, we'll set up radium RFID to chip the people that are in agreement to go into the concentration camps. At the same time, we can fuel these people against the whites that are aimed towards the government. We can tell them that the Mexicans stole their job, and we can make them fight each other, and then the military can come in and we can kill them all. What you think, Dick? Good plan, Dick? This is how they sit at tables. While we just trying to live, we're trying to serve the Most High, we're trying to pray, we're just trying to deal with life normal, but on a daily basis, they're thinking about how they can destroy the poor righteous man. It's in Scripture. The Most High tell you how they think. And these are the people you're going to and writing your congressmen and writing these people. If you can only see the look on their faces when you write them and think you're making an impact. They're laughing at you. All these people are in it together. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Read.
Let us not spare the widow.
And let us not spare the widow. Read.
Nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
And let's not reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. We're not even going to have respect for elderly people. Let's cut their pensions. Who cares you fought in Vietnam? So what? Who cares you fought for this country? Who cares? We're out of money. We can't pay you. You have to take your pension. Well, we built this country. Oh, there's no more money for welfare. Sorry. Can't live off us anymore. Even over here. I see it on a news program. They're talking about cutting off all the resources, all the pensions, all the welfare, all the free housing. So where will you go? They got a plan over in Europe too. Yes. Okay, if you want to know what's going to happen, just go look back what happened with the test run between Hitler and the Jewish people. And times that by about 1,000 or 10,000. Now put yourself in the Jewish people's place. And put the world government in Hitler's place. That's the future. That's the future. Okay? Finish reading.
Verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice.
And then they say, let our strength be what?
Let our strength be the law of justice.
The Most High said, this is what they're saying now. Let our strength be the law of justice. Let's use the law to oppress the poor righteous people. So it's lawful. Let's put on the books things to oppress them. Let's do racial profiling. Let's make sure that through the cops and through the media, and through the law, we collect their DNA. They got police out here collecting DNA from people. Let's use the law to do these things. Let's shoot a man at point blank, put a bullet in him and kill him in the midst of his own people. And because he have a badge, say it was involuntary manslaughter. Let us just kill somebody and protect, because why? These people are worth nothing. Why? These people are not going to do anything. Let me tell you, if this had happened to any other people, they would have been on the uprise. They they can shoot somebody point blank in their own neighborhood and leave out there like it's nothing. And then have the courts tell them that there is no justice. This is what they planned. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. This is their mindset. The Most High gave us their mindset before they were created to do what they're doing. Read.
Verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They got places in different parts of the country where you can't wear your pants to a certain level. It's a fine, or it can become, it's madness. That means you make laws. You look at what people do naturally and say, you know what, I'm going to make that illegal. I'm going to make that illegal. Just look to oppress the poor righteous man, like to pick on him. You stop him from nothing. How many times you got to stop a guy in the same neighborhood? Or frisk a guy in the same neighborhood? Trying to provoke the people. Read.
Verse 12. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
That's why they're going to come against the righteous. It says, let us come up against the righteous because they are not for our turn. They don't believe in the same values we believe in. That's what they're saying, because they're following the image of the beast. They believe in the image of the beast. And you have some people out there that will boldly tell them what you're dealing with is a waste of time. Your God you follow is a waste of time. The powers that you follow in this earth will fall. And the same poor people you are oppressing will rule. Now imagine hearing that in your empire. That's the pretext to label you a terrorist and to take you down. That's the pretext. Now that we are getting bold in our understanding that the Most High gave us the truth makes us terrorists. So they knew this was coming a long time ago. They seen this brewing, so they pulled out Bin Laden, a CIA agent, and started labeling him a terrorist, knowing that they would one day call the black people the terrorists. And they did it around the same time Nero did it before we were destroyed in 70 AD. A 5 or 6 year period. You do the false flag, blame somebody, and by the end of this time, you got your culprits. Now who are the new terrorists? We are. Why? Because our God is not for their turn. We're telling them that what they eat is wrong. What they're doing in the earth is wrong. They can't even teach the Bible right. And we're telling them, here these poor people that shouldn't know anything, know more about the Bible than their highest professors. They have a problem with this. Read.
Verse 12. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
So they're going to lie in wait for us because we are not down with them. We are not down with the New World Order. Read.
And he is clean contrary to our doing.
And it says they coming against us because we're clean contrary to their doings. They can look at us and through that it convicts them. Because we don't want to eat what they eat. Oh, that's an abomination. How can you sit there and eat some shrimp? And eat crab and lobster and call that delicacy? The Most High said in Leviticus 11, you can't eat that. How can you run around and just be known homosexuals, loving each other unrighteously? They don't like that, and we tell them right out. Read.
He upbraideth us with our offending of the law.
Read it again.
He upbraideth us with our offending of the law.
And that's why they planning against us, because we be on those streets upbraiding them of how they're treating the Most High's law. We'll tell them that how can you execute law and you got a world of lawlessness? How can you bring law? How can you say steal and you stole the world? How can you lock somebody up for stealing? How can you say that? How can you call someone a murderer when you have murdered the world and you send young kids off to die and murder innocent people every day? They don't want to hear that because that unseen propaganda. Truth and light shines right on them and they're standing there, and it's like they can't, there's no comeback for that. The only thing they can do is get behind their closed doors and say, kill them, like they did Christ and the disciples. You can't debate truth. Read.
And objective to our infamy, the transgressings of our education.
And we tell them that their education is nothing. That's why they're coming against us. It's in the Bible. We tell them their education is, fools set up their institutions. Darwin's theory. How can you set up a school based on theory? That's madness. When the Most High gave you law, statutes, and commandments, how can you teach a man's theory? That means any simpleton can come up and get a theory and you become a professor? So it says they're upset that we tell them this, that we don't respect their theories. How can we respect man's theory when you don't respect the Most High? So they got a problem with this. Like, who are these guys? Oh, what school did they go to? Read.
Verse 13. He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High.
That's why they want to kill us, because we profess to have the knowledge of the Most High, and we do. If the Catholic Church had it, we're still waiting for it. I'm looking at their ceremonies they do, and I want to see one of those ceremonies written of in the Bible. Give me one ceremony that you see them doing in those clothings and the way they're dressed in the Bible. But no, you can get a book called Satan Angels Exposed and see that what they wear, what they do, and everything is actually mimicking ancient Babylonian satanic rituals. And they're upset that we know that and we can show them that. That the Pope is a good friend of Satan. And they're upset that we can bring that out. The Catholic Church ain't doing nothing new. It's all Babylonian. So he's like, well, where did these guys get that from? Kill them. That's the only recourse they have. Because you cannot debate truth. And during crisis time, it was the same thing. They worked cats up to try to debate them and try to take them down. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it intellectually because you cannot debate truth. The only recourse was to what? And the same spirit is in the earth today. Truth. Can't debate truth. That's why Christ said in Matthew 24 that they're going to give you up and deliver you up to die. And you know what? That's a valiant and an honorable death to die for Christ. Instead of taking their stinking mark of the beast. Period. We'll take death first. Okay? We'll take death first before we take their stinking mark. And this is what all this is culminating and leading to. Read on.
Verse 13. He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
They are upset that we're calling ourselves the children of Israel now. How do we know that? The Jewish Europeans have been calling themselves Jews for years and no one complained. When I say that, hold up, according to the Bible, he's black. I'm sorry, he's black. That's us. Now you want to pull out colors that are not even in the human spectrum. Well, maybe he was olive. Well, why you don't have an olive picture of Christ up there? If you thought he was olive, don't come playing now that we know the truth. There's two colors of olive. Black and green. Period. So they want to play with us because now we learned the truth. And see, the only place you really have to teach the truth like this is in America. Other people know. All over the earth they know. The only way you got to bring it down to an elementary level, because America is the place they purposely put freedom of religion to destroy the children of Israel. The freedom of understanding, freedom to be anything you want. So that you can totally lose yourself in being an American. Yeah, it's like that in the UK too. Yeah, in London too. So they're upset that now the Most High put the Spirit on us to find the truth. Then they pull Farrakhan's behind out of nowhere to try to undo what the Most High is doing. They might as well just roll him out of here. I'm going to tell you that right now. He fizzled like nothing trying to bring information on the children of Israel. Why? Because the only way you can bring the children of Israel is truth. That's it. It went. It came and it went because it didn't have any substance. Read.
Verse 14. He was made to reprove our thoughts.
That's why they want to kill us. They want to destroy us because we were born to reprove their thoughts. We were born to correct the way they think. Read.
Verse 15. He is grievous unto us even to behold.
They can't stand to even look at us. That's what the Bible says, the ungodly. This is the way they think. They look at us and say, man, they're not dead yet. God, how many more abortions we have to do? They're still here. We've been doing eugenics for over 100 years. They're still here. I know what we can do. We can turn the sea into a bomb. Let's try that. And you know what? After they finish all their work, we'll still be here. Standing in our glory with our Lord looking down on their master in chains. That's the end result. Read.
Verse 15. He is grievous unto us even to behold.
They can't stand to look at us. Read.
For his life is not like other men.
It says their life is not like other men. That shows they study us. I don't think they don't study us. Because everything you put on, the world eventually put on. That means they was looking at you. When you start dancing a certain type of way, now the world will start dancing like you. They've been looking at you. They've been studying you. Why? There's no school you can go to learn to be Israel. It's all in the spirit. Other nations see the children of Israel and are intrigued that they have to spend billions of dollars to go to school what we're born with naturally. And that's the spirit of the Most High. The spirit to be able to persevere in love regardless of what people do to us. What other people are like that? It's weird to have to them, it's crazy to have a people that are being pressed, trodden down, be killed and destroyed, and still learn to love their enemies. Because there's nothing in their makeup to understand that. But that's how Christ was. How can these people be oppressed, trodden down, get everything taken from them, but still love everyone? That's intriguing to them. And to the point where they can't stand you. Because if it was them, they would have been did something. Read.
His ways are of another fashion.
And they study us and they realize their ways is of another fashion. They're different than other people in this earth. Read.
Verse 16. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
And this is one of the main reasons. Because they are esteemed by us as counterfeits. We're telling them that they're not the people they say they are. They are counterfeits. They are not Jews. They're from Amalek. They're from Esau. They can't stand that because they spent billions of dollars to hide their true identity. They've killed many people to keep their true identity from the public. And now you get some poor people out of the ghetto with research and understanding from on high that not only identify themselves in the earth, but are able to identify the culprits who have destroyed them. Read.
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
We are esteemed to them as counterfeits. Read.
He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness.
And we abstain from his ways as of filthiness, which means we look at him on the things we shouldn't do because it's filthy. And we'll speak it outright. We'll speak it outright in front of them. the world that you're ruling and how you're ruling is foolishness with God. You're not taking care of the earth that was meant to take care of you. You're destroying the water. You're destroying the air you must breathe. And you're looking to make a profit while destroying yourself. But we're not supposed to say anything. So, and by us speaking about it, they become upset. That's what truth does. Read.
He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed.
They pronounced at the end of the just to be blessed. We're telling people that even though we're going through Jacob's trouble, at the end of the day, we will receive the blessings of Abraham. We will live eternal, and we will rise as a nation and will never fall again. They don't like that because their nation is fallen and cannot get up. Their countries are falling through war, and they will never stand again. But yet, we're talking about a nation or a kingdom that will rise, that will stand forever. They don't like that. Because they'd rather us be simple and to work to try to keep their little kingdom going. When the Most High says Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Why should I work to keep your kingdom up and the Most High is taking it down? That's where I'd rather go to sleep first. I'd rather be home sleeping than building this kingdom. Read on.
And maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father.
Read it again.
And maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father.
So they want to destroy us because we make a boast that the Most High is our Father. And he is. Because the Gentiles are following other gods. You're not following the God of the Hebrews. You don't even know his name. You don't even know his name. So we make a boast that you can follow any God you want. We want to follow the I am that I am, the Ahaya Ashar Ahaya, the God of the Hebrews. And we make a boast that he's our Father. He delivered our people, our brothers and sisters, our fathers through the Red Sea. He delivered us. We make that boast. Why? Because it's true. The Jewish people are not the people. How can they be the people when they're in Israel today discovering things? If you are the people of Israel, should not you know where everything at? Shouldn't you know where everything is right now? If you were the people that was there originally, think. They're still discovering things like they just got there. Why? They just got there. Read on.
Verse 17. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
So they're looking back saying, okay, if you God's people, let's see if he's going to help you at the end. Let's see if what you're saying is true, because we're going to put you to the test. We're about to live that test. People talking about, well, they might label me a terrorist. Let me tell you, we were born labeled terrorist. We were born labeled terrorists. Something was labeled with us when we were growing up and had the first time we drove a car and realized that to get in the car we have to think every time we step in a car, man, I hope a cop don't get behind me. And your license and everything is good. That was before that was labeled the people terrorists. I knew something was different about us.
You can walk in the street.
Yeah, you walk in the street and you get frisked and getting, you fear your government. So you were labeled terrorists from birth. They're just outright putting it. They're not hiding it anymore now. It's on the forefront now. But this is how they felt the whole time. The scriptures are telling us this. This is what they felt the whole time. They were just masking it and hiding behind the law. Well, I'm just doing my job, buddy. Spread it. I'm just, listen, I'm just bound by the law. Yeah, can I check your car? Excuse me, officer, what did I do? It seemed like it seemed like your tone is getting a little, you feel like I feel like you're harassing me here. I'm like, you stop me, officer. You feel like your tone is a little, seem like you assaulting me.
It's true.
This is what we have to deal with from birth. I used to always wonder. I used to grow up like, man, something ain't right. I know everyone is not experiencing what I'm experiencing here. Is it me? Where we have to psychologically have a big brother in our minds through every walk in life. That's what the so-called black man, I'm going to put it out there, have to go through. Or the Mexican or the Israelite have to go through. We got to have this guy in our head that we are afraid of at every moment. And it's the government that's supposed to be protecting us. We're terrorists from birth. Read on.
Verse 18. For if the just man be the son of the Most High.
He says, if they're really the son of the Most High like they claim they are, read.
He will help him.
Then he will help them, because we're gonna it's open game on Israel now. Let's see if the Most High is going to help them from that bomb concocted we use with the sea and this co-exit and the military over there and the UN armies. The tens of thousands of Canadian military is on the Gulf Coast right now. UN trucks from other nations, the UN nations, are in Florida right now. They're showing this one thing on the media as if it's one thing they have to plug, when the whole seabed has been destroyed on the Gulf Coast, and they did it purposely. Why? Because our people inhabit there. So they're saying, listen, if they believe in the Most High God, let's see how they're going to get out of this one. Let's see what they're going to do when we're labeling them, and we have to beg Satan, beg our government to chip them to live. They can't wait for that. They tell you the mark of the beast is like, when you look at the Greek, it's like begging or lapping like a dog from the master's hand. That's what getting the mark of the beast is. You must go to the beast for survival. You must go to Satan when you should depend on the Most High. They're going to relish in the fact that we're going to be acting like animals just to survive, killing each other just to survive, and begging for the mark of the beast.
Everybody always asking what the government going to do about it. Always looking for the government for a solution. The government's got a solution, but we're not going to like the solution that they're going to offer.
Yeah. Of course the government have a solution. The solution is camps. And see, they don't have enough room for everybody. That's why they got the little concoction going on in the Gulf Coast to poison and kill everyone. But if you do get the honor of stepping on a Radiant RFID bus, so that they can make sure they can protect you and your family and keep your dog with you. That's how they promoting it. If you do get on this, they're going to run you to see if you are a criminal, and a lot of us are just criminal by living. How many of you got parking tickets on you? Got warrants on you? Just stuff just for living. Oh man, I forgot to pay that parking bill. Don't worry about it. It was $30. Now it's $3,000 now. Oh, I don't think they're not going to pull the child support rap sheet out on you. Oh my goodness. Some of you owe 30, 40,000, 50,000. So when you go and get your bracelet or your chip or whatever they give you so that they can keep you protected and with you and your family and your dog, they're going to run your information and see how much debt you owe. And guess who bought your debt? The other governments. All your debt has been sold to the other governments. All your debt. So now you're in a camp and you're being sent to specific camps to work off your debt. So you're in jail, working off your debt for a corporation. And yeah, the woman who you owe child support, she can receive the child support based on your slave labor. But she must get chipped to receive the money that's coming from your slave labor.
Wow.
What a system. How can you outrun the long arm of the law now? How can you outrun the law now? When either you have, your choice is benzene, Coexit, breathe in the fumes, or a tidal wave that might break off and destroy you, or a few more hurricanes bringing on the toxins with no food and water that can help you, or get filtered into government camps. Those are your options. And I know the people that are not living in the Gulf are thinking, well, you know what? It's okay because I'm not near the Gulf. But no, because the people are being moved to where you are through public domain. Your domain now turns over to the government. So now you're under martial law too. Because these are the places they're displacing evacuees. So now you are a culprit too. And because these people are acting out like they were in Katrina, and they can't control themselves, we gotta call martial law and send in the troops to lock this whole thing down and displacing all these people. This is what's developing right now. While race wars are developing here, while the thing that's going on over there with the flotilla near the Gaza Strip, don't forget, while these ships are not bringing in all those pounds of resources that those people need, those people on the Gaza Strip and in Palestine, the Palestinians, they're starving. They're dying. That's a story that you don't see. Why? Because no cameras are let in. So all this is happening at the same time. Wars, rumors of wars, nations against nations. Them planning on how to kill us. Welcome to the New World Order. I was going to go into, as a matter of fact, let's get it. Read what you have, and I'm going to get Zephaniah, the first chapter, right? 1 and 18. We're going to get that to show you that this program was set up well before we went into captivity. It was set up under under the satanic governments, under the four beasts. They began this same program, and it's a Mason program. It's what you would call a Masonic order that was set up well before we fell as a people. Showing you the Masonic connection to this wickedness against the children of Israel, or the destruction of God's people by what we call, according to the Bible, Jacob's trouble. Read.
Verse 18. For if the just man be the son of the Most High.
So they're saying if we be the son of the Most High, read.
He will help him.
Then the Most High will help us. Read.
And deliver him from the hand of his enemies.
And deliver him from the hand of the enemy. So they're saying, listen, we're going to put these people to the test. We want to see if the God of Israel is real. We're going to see if the God they're calling on will help them. Read.
Verse 19. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture.
Let us do what?
Let us examine him.
Let us examine him with what?
With despitefulness and torture.
Let us examine him with despiteful and torture. Let's examine him by spiting him and torturing and killing him. So you think it's a coincidence that they was testing torture in Guantanamo Bay? It starts off with Arabs and other people, and then it ends up where the people being tortured and destroyed and looked at as terrorists. No coincidence. Read the scriptures. Read.
That we may know his meekness and prove his patience.
We're going to see how meek he can be by the time we put this New World Order on him. We're going to see how patient he can be when we finish with him with our tortures. We will make him denounce his God. That's what they want. They have raped the whole earth and kept the resources for themselves so that they can force us to beg them for resources. And you know what? If brothers and sisters do have to go through this, take death. Take death. Don't give them anything. Take death. We'll see them on the other side. You will get retribution. Vengeance is the Lord, and he's bringing back the real vengeance. Christ is bringing back vengeance, and when he comes back, he's not coming back to hold hands with you. He's bringing vengeance. He's bringing our vengeance. So before you lay down with this government that's over anyway, take death. Read.
Verse 20. Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
So they want to condemn us with a shameful death. They want us to go out and die begging for their mark, begging for them to take care of us. Let us do what we did coming out of Egypt. Let us depend on the Father and have the Most High take care of us. How do that sound? The governments can't help themselves. How can they help us? They can't level their own economy. How can they take care of us? So we have to now the Most High is calling us to depend on Him and totally denounce the gods and the people that are controlling us in this earth. Even if we have to starve, fast first, before we take anything when it comes to this wicked and evil cesspool we call an earth. This not living anyway. We're surviving. This not living. Read on.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
It says, let us condemn him with a shameful death. They want us to die in shame. Like they crucified our Lord between a thief, between robbers, between evil men. They wanted him to die in shame. Read.
For by his own saying he shall be respected.
It says, by his own saying he shall be respected. Let's see what he'll say once we're finished. Read.
Verse 21. Such things they did imagine, and were deceived, for by their own wickedness have blinded them.
Their own wickedness have blinded them. They're deceived that they think the Most High is not going to help us when it's time. The Most High have stayed back long enough. That's what they don't understand. We're in the signs of the times. We're in the time of the coming of our Lord. They picked the wrong time to mess with the children of Israel. Okay? We had the Red Sea on one side, and we had Pharaoh bearing down us on the other side. And the Most High came down in a pillar of fire and destroyed his behind, and destroyed his army in the Red Sea. The same Red Sea we walked over on in dry shod. So it may look like we have no chance and no opportunity, and all the doors are closed. The Most High gave us that as an example. So don't think that he's not with us, even if all the doors are closed. Okay? They picked the wrong time to mess with our people. That's why we're going throughout the four corners of the earth and proclaiming truth. That this is the time of the day of our Lord. Okay? And if we have to suffer death to come back with the Lord and his army, let's do it. Or if we have to wait to become a part of that army and go through the suffering, let's do it. But do not comply, and because this system and the people that fight with this system is going down. Period. Read on.
Verse 22. As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not.
See that? They're blind. They're so blind trying to destroy us. They have forgot about the Most High. That's the one element. That's the greatest element. How can you forget about him? You think he's going to leave us out there so that this world can destroy us and not have the promises of Abraham be fulfilled? One thing about the Most High, when he put out a word, it don't come back void. He said that we will take the kingdom of heaven. And you know what? It will be fulfilled. The Most High, it tells you even in the Dead Sea Scrolls that at the very end, he will set Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in the desert to fight in the day of Armageddon. He would place us in the desert to fight in that day. So let me tell you, their arms are too short to box with God, and they got the wrong God they're fighting with. If Lucifer could do anything, he would have stayed up into the heavenly realm. His behind can't even get out in space without a ship. And they're using him. They got the wrong God. One more scripture. Zechariah 1 and 18. Zephaniah 1 and 18. Zechariah, excuse me. Zechariah. Excuse me, Zechariah 1 and 18. To show you that this thing was planned well before we went into captivity. Well before 70 AD. Read it.
Zechariah chapter 1 verse 18. Then lifted up I mine eyes, and saw, and behold 4 horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these?
So Zechariah was asking, who are these 4 horns that he's seeing in this vision here? Read.
And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem.
These are the horns that have scattered who?
These are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem.
These are the nations that scattered Judah and Israel. These are the 4 horns. These 4 horns link directly to the 4 beasts in Daniel, to show you that the empires that are set up in the earth are not for our turn. They were set up to scatter us and to destroy us so we can serve them. And through all these empires, we've taken on their gods and their religions. They scattered us. Read.
Verse 20. And the Most High showed me 4 carpenters.
And the Most High showed what?
And the Most High showed me 4 carpenters.
So these are 4 carpenters. If you look at the Masonic tool with the G, there's a ruler and there's a thing there for geometry, for carpentry, which are masons. So their construct, they're set up to go against and scatter God's people. They're the carpenters, they're the masons, it's government. And the people that join their Masonic order are in the same order as carpenters to fight and scatter God's people. That's their agreement. To go against Christ and to worship their god Jabdalan, which is Satan, and to continue to scatter God's people. They're the carpenters. If you want to know the Masons started with the 4 governments that were used to enslave us. And all the governments of this earth are remnants from those 4 horns. That's the reason America have the symbols of all the empires that preceded it. It have the ancient rituals of Babylon and Persia. It have the all-seeing eye, and it have the eye of Horus and the pyramids from ancient Egypt. It have the practices in democracy and military of the Greeks and Romans. That's your Masons. The Masons are the government, the satanic orders of governments established in the earth. They're the 4 carpenters. And all the people that, because they're lonely, want to join an organization to have friends, don't even realize this organization is set up to scatter the children of Israel. This is the organization that are behind the plots to destroy us in these last days. These are they who they call the elite in the earth today. Read.
Verse 21. Then said I, what come these to do?
And he's asking, what are these 4 horns are coming to do? Read.
And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head.
So they scattered us so that we cannot lift up our head, so that we cannot be the kings and the leaders we were born to be. They made laws and governments to oppress us, to make us think that we cannot change anything. But they know the power is in us to change this. Genesis the 49th chapter says Judah have crouched down like a young lion, like an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? When we rise, the other tribes rise with us. Read.
But these are come to free them.
But it says, but these are come to free them. The Most High is going to free us. Read.
But these are come to free them, to cast out the horn of the Gentiles.
To cast out the horn of the Gentiles. So Christ is coming to cast out the horn of the Gentiles. It was the Gentile Masonic orders that have enslaved and destroyed us as a people. Christ is coming down to take out the Masons. To take out the Masons and their government order. It was established under the Gentile powers, starting with Nimrod. Now I wanted to go into the wars of the earth today. and what's going to happen in the earth, but I'm beyond my time. But I guess we can get together on the Sabbath and tomorrow night. On the Sabbath, and we can go over that on the Sabbath day with the prophecies of what's going to happen with the wars all over the earth. But I want to show what's going on in the earth, have us understand what's fighting against us, give us some real insight on what's really happening in the earth opposed to what they're telling us, to make it so that we can prepare. You brothers here, you sisters here in the UK, you're going to have to make some plans to make some moves. Because when this stuff erupts here, it's not going to be no different than America eventually. I can say this, at least over here, you have a little more time than our people have in America. And that's just a little. But it seems like the UK, whatever America does, the UK is right with it. Okay? Now the surveillance part of things in Europe, I mean, they surveil you like no other country on earth. So if like the brother was mentioning, he was telling us that if there's any place that the mark of the beast is ready to be rolled out in, the UK and London is more ready than America is. Okay? So we have to look at what's going on. The economy is not going to get better. You see all these stores packing up. Y'all see what's going on here. Y'all see these racial tensions going on. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. So one thing we can do right now is come together, keep the commandments of the Most High, pray on the Sabbaths. Who knows? I may be going back over there soon to do a few things, but we have to come together and prepare to roll out. And we have to be in one mind. And I can say this: there's no way you can do this if you got an attachment or a mental hold to anything in this world, no matter what it is. There's no way you can do this, because you can always look back. You can always look back, and you can't get this kingdom looking back. You can only get this kingdom looking forward, because this place is done. This place is done. And you know, it don't feel good all the time. It don't feel good knowing that the only life you knew means nothing at this point, because the earth is not what we thought it was. The place we live in was just a program we was put in. We were living a program. But once your eyes are open, you realize that there's no place for anyone that want to serve the Most High here. There's no place. Either we stand with truth, and eventually, if it be the Lord's will, die standing for truth, or we don't stand for truth and die anyway. Those are the options.